Music Nova Scotia trusted me to help them mend relationships, and I'm also having a community. How do we continue to build this trust and make sure that it is meaningful and intentional? How do institutions and industry leaders better collaborate with us, community-driven individuals and initiatives to help build real infrastructure? Anybody can answer.
I mean, just listen to us.
Yeah.
I mean, again, with my personal experience dealing with the challenges at CBC, which is a predominantly white institution, which I will say from the highest mountaintop, it's always mind-boggling to me that I will be in meetings with people who have never given a thought to Black artists and their music beyond the usual suspects, Shad,
Right.
Julie Black, what have you. And then look me dead in my face and tell me that I don't know what I'm doing. So it really, I don't know that that's a thing that we need to do. It's not on us to, the institutions, the people that support and are the foundation of these institutions, the change has to start there and just listen to us. Because we do know what we're talking about, we do know what we're doing. Small story. At the block party, again, everyone wanted a piece of it. And there was a question of language, of course, because we can't broadcast curse words on the air unless we do a little preamble announcement thing. And so I was trying to say that they were talking about a 7-second delay because we do the Junos and things like that every year, and everyone's like, no problem, we'll just incorporate the Juno method, and there's a delay, and someone will sit there and push the button to block the curse words. I'm like, that's not enough. It's not. First of all, whoever's on that button is probably not going to know the material, and sometimes the words come fast and furious, and I don't want the end product that's going to go out on the air because we were broadcasting live to sound all chopped up, right? Like if you cut out too much, then and that sounds terrible. Nobody wanted to listen. At some point, I'm like, you know what? Those who don't listen shall feel. That is something that my mother taught me ages ago, and she's never been wrong. So we're at the rehearsal, and I'm not going to name the artist because it really doesn't matter, but she's on stage and she's doing her thing, and I'm going to curse here, and she's like, fucking the shit, and blah, 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 blah. And within seconds, my walkie-talkie went off, and it was the folks that were back at the broadcast center saying, yeah, we can't use the 7-second delay on this. I'm like, oh, really? You don't say. I'm like, yeah, it's just coming too fast, and we're following the lyric sheet, but it's not exactly what she's saying. I'm like, yeah, oh, okay, say more. And they were just freaking out because they didn't know what to do because the 7-second delay button that I said literally weeks ago wasn't going to work. Everyone had assured me that it was because it worked for the Junos. And I'm like, how many times has the Junos actually broadcast hip-hop with curse words? So everyone was freaking out. Of course, I had a plan B in my head because I knew we were going to land here eventually, and I pivoted to plan B. But that's an example of, again, I did my best to tell everyone what was going to happen, and I was not believed. So the institutions need to do the work at this point.
Yeah.
We're all competent, we know the material, we know the artists, we know the business, and so we just need to be trusted.
I feel like I have to go next. We've been moving down and moving up, so here we are again. I agree, listening goes a long way. There definitely has to be willingness to have difficult conversations.
Yeah.
A lot of them. And knowing that those are going to happen along the journey for a while, and that's okay. It's okay that there isn't some sort of method or treatment for how to figure out these issues and cross over these barriers and all those sorts of things. We have to be willing to figure out where are the strengths, where are the weaknesses, and how do we collaborate. And so I think that's really the way forward. It really starts with conversations. I think that's been a consistent thing, and everything that we've said is that there's been a conversation that led to something else. There's a connection that led to something else, and we've been able to reach points of success in our own industries and in our own lanes. But I think for institutions to really move forward in the right direction, we have to talk, and the space does have to be safe. That's huge. Whether that looks like Black facilitators or what have you, pre-conversations, not just, okay, this is exactly what's going to happen, and then we're just going to walk in here and act like everything's cool. and say what we want you to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that space has to be made, and there has to be accountability. You have to follow up. You have to do the things you said you're gonna do. We're not in a point in the industry anymore where we have the conversation, those who are upset now they feel good, and now they're shut up until an issue arises again. You know, people are coming back and they're expecting a follow-up. They're expecting to see, okay, so what was the fruit of this conversation? You can't have two people come to a point of having, you know, this moment, and there's only intention on one end of it. And so there has to be intentionality. You have to actually want to support our community. And then if you don't, well then at least just say that so we can go to see who really wants to do the work. Instead of us kind of, you know, barking at the same tree type of thing. And so if you want to help us, you know, you have to be willing to work together, and not be so quick to be offended, because that's another issue. You know, you don't want to feel like you have to tiptoe around saying the truth. And the truth of the matter is, there's going to be things that are said that people might not want to hear, but the truth is the truth. And you have to be willing to embrace that and see, okay, what can we do with what we know? My dad always says, like, he quotes G.I. Joe, and he's like, and knowing is half the battle. But it's like, he's so nerdy, like, I love my dad. But it's true, like, you can't really do anything unless you know, and sometimes that knowledge is hard to take in, but it's real, and it's lived experiences of people. I think that's another thing that we have to understand, is that at the end of the day, at the core of the industry, there's people involved, there's people that are affected. And so in creativity and art, it's part of our identity, it's part of who we are, so it's really close to home. And so if, you know, we sense that you don't care, there can be pain connected to that for a lot of people. And so we have to be really mindful of how we're going with the conversations, and really following up and being about what we're saying that we're going to do.
Yeah. My initial answer was like, just give us the money and get out the way, but that doesn't.
My next question. That was my next question. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's like time, you know, and really giving it time and giving us the resource, and letting us do the work, you know, like help us facilitate and put us in position to be able to do the work, because we know what is needed. We're willing to have those conversations. We've been having to have those conversations, whether directly or silently, due to microaggressions anyway. So it's like, yeah, I think like definitely allowing us to create spaces where we can speak freely, safer spaces, and then following up as well. A conversation I've been having with Creative Scotland is about, for example, is about how do we better, what does development actually look like? And that conversation has been going on for coming up to 3 years now. And it started with just a chat with Creative Scotland, which then led into me being given some budget to do research into that by speaking to the community and paying them to actually have this conversation with me. And then the next phase is going to be a proposal. So it's like, it isn't always about just one time, like, here we've done this now. It's about that long-term strategic approach. And I think everything that you said already agreed.
I think in my work, I think I'm pretty lucky that I kind of have free reign within reason to kind of do the things that I want to do to help up and coming artists and to help people in the industry where budget allows. However, I feel like, particularly on the radio side of things, there is a lack of trust with up and coming artists in the black community in the UK. I feel like they see the corporation that I work for as kind of like against them. They kind of see that, they feel like that we are against them, and they feel like there's no one on that side of radio that kind of, or like TV, that looks like them, understands where they come from, and will understand their music and their art. And myself and my colleagues have realised that there's difficult conversations that need to be had, and we need to kind of go out and speak to the communities directly and show them like, hey, we look like you, we understand your music, like, I had a conversation with someone once that was like, I didn't know that it was black people that produced the show. And I'm like, well, yeah, hi. Like, we literally like live in the same sort of areas, like we've had the same lived experiences. And I think just to let people know that like there are people like you that are trying to help you. And even sometimes there's still a bit of pushback where it's like, well, you work for them anyway, so like there's no way you can understand like how I feel and the music that I make and stuff, but there's definitely still work to be done. But we know that we do need to have the conversation to make people feel more comfortable, and just show them that we are there to help them, and that we're not just kind of in this ivory tower like looking down on them, that we are like the same as them, and we just want to help them and their music and their art, and just help them find their audience and, you know, make the music that they want to make.
All right, it's almost time to wrap up, but I have one more question. And Mobo touched on this a little bit. Money. We have like quite a few barriers within the community. Access to funding and grants. You apply, you wait, the event is over, you're waiting, your plans have to like pivot, and then you look crazy because you have to go back to people and be like, oh, we actually can't do this now. Maybe we can try again another time. But aside from funding, there's like other barriers and stuff too. So I want to know, not everybody has to answer, but you can. We got like maybe 3 minutes left. But if you could make one change, one systemic change in the industry, like today, what would it be?
In terms of like specific to money and like access to financial resources or whatever. Okay. We have 3 minutes. I need to stop pausing. So I would say an issue that I keep finding that I have to bring up is funding that makes room for entrepreneurs on the music business side. There's so many grants for artists, and yes, they can be hard to get, all those sorts of things. There's challenges with that alone. But if you want to get into the business, hot dog, okay? Like there's like there's no money specific to the arts on the business side of things, unless you're like running a theater, like a venue or something like that. But you know, for Crescendo Fest, it's probably, well, I know it's challenging because you're FaceTiming me talking about how it's challenging, so I know these things, and even just like for me being an event producer or what have you, even when I was in artist management, like to really establish my own business and things like that, it was hard to really find pockets of funding that really applied to me, and then even as a general entrepreneurship grant or loan or what have you, you're competing with everybody else in any industry who wants to start a business. And so we need more support to really help industry professionals build businesses that fill in these gaps and can help actually create the infrastructure and the cycle that we need in the industry.
I don't know what it's like here for funding, but in the UK, a lot of it is like age-based. So like if you're 18 to 25, there's loads of things for funding. Some things are like 18 to 30 if you're lucky. I'm 31 now, so I don't qualify for any of those things. So like, and obviously in comparison to some people, I kind of got into the industry quite late. So when I've decided all the things that I want to do that I need funding for, I don't qualify for anything. So it has to be done out of my own pocket, or it doesn't get done at all. So I feel like just being able to like take those reins off it, like you can be creative at any point in your life, and what you need a leg up, like I just wish that would change, and there's not just like an age limit on everything.
I would like, this is a real pipe dream, but an actual accounting to take place of how much money has been spent over time on artists that don't look like us and genres that we don't specialize in. And once you've reached that amount of funding for us, then let's start comparing. Because I think there's a sense of, oh, we spent $20,000 on this or $100,000 on that, and it just didn't do anything. It's like, well, how much money was spent, and again, I'm going to throw names out there, I don't know if this is actually true, but supporting the tragically hip, supporting Blue Rodeo, supporting all the artists that are perceived generally as being Canadian artists. When the total you've spent on that equals the total that you've spent on us, then we'll have something to talk about. Until then, just let us cook. Like we're so far behind. Like economically speaking, we are so far behind in terms of the resources and the finances that we've had access to. I'm eating up the whole 3 minutes, I'm sorry. And yet, in this country, black music really pushes the industry. The advance report that Kezia Myers commissioned was astounding. So with like limited resources, we're kind of keeping it going. We're the sauce. Imagine if we actually had the funding that generations of white Canadian bands have had. So I don't know who's going to do that math, but I would love to see it.
Me too. Okay, 2 minutes. Anybody have a question for anybody up here? Why are you thinking about if you have a question? We have some great industry professionals up here. We have some great ones in Nova Scotia. If you can think of a way to support them somehow, whether it be through mentorship, whether it be through a job, internship, or just an idea, or just a chat, do that.
Judith.lynch@cbc.ca.
Yeah, we'll be around. Nobody has a question. I'm open book. I like to chat and challenge all of the boundaries. So thank you guys for being here, for sharing a bit about you, your journey. I just want all of us to succeed. Everybody in the room, all the cultures, all the people. And I want everybody else to want that same thing for us. Thanks, friends.
Are we gonna sit or are we gonna stand?
The one guy cruise.
That was great, huh?
Thanks, Kevin.
Hello.
I'm Vanessa. Nice to meet you.